It's a beautiful reading, and one that if you just were to read the Bible and read those words by Jesus to say he sets the mother against the daughter and the mother-in-law against the daughter-in-law and take the sword, it all sounds a bit gruesome and troubling. And that's why we have scriptures, because they are they're metaphors for what we need to do in our lives, just as the Gita has taught us always also that we need to use that sword of discrimination and fight the battle against our own inner, the things that we hold most dear inwardly. You know, Yogananda, Jesus says, you know, you have to fight against your family, and it goes against everything that we sort of believe or what we think. Our family is what we hold most dear. But we know that in the Gita, Krishna is telling Arjuna, you must fight this battle. This is your time. This is the life. This is when you must fight. And Arjuna is very hesitant, saying, no, it's my family. It's my family. And I don't want to hurt my family. I certainly don't want to kill my family. And, you know, the Hiri and the great masters have said, those are the things that we hold most dear within us. All the things that keep our personality what it is, all the things that help us do what we do and make us feel secure, and all those things that help shore up the self-definitions of saying, this is who I am, this is why I'm me. And Krishna is saying to Arjuna, no, you have to let those things go. You are so much more than that. But this is a battle that needs to be fought. And Yogananda, you know, the great avatars, they appear again and again, age after age. And Yogananda has said that he was Arjuna in that battle. He was Arjuna with Krishna in that lifetime. And in that lifetime, Krishna said, this is the time you need to fight. And Yogananda said, that lifetime as Arjuna was when I became liberated. I did fight the battle, and I did become liberated that lifetime. And so Yogananda has come in this modern age. And when he was born, his mother brought him to Lahiri Mahashaya, and Lahiri Mahashaya said, this is a great spiritual engine. Your son will bring many, many souls to God. And whether that's thousands or millions, we can only imagine. But as his disciples, it's his job to liberate us, and it's his job to bring us to God. So in this lifetime, it's he that is telling us, it's time to fight. This is the lifetime. This is the incarnation. He said, I can give you an experience of God. The time for knowing God has come. And so then he puts it in front of us. Are you going to fight this battle? And in theory, we say, yes, it's a good idea. I think I want to. I want to become free. I would certainly like to overcome the difficult parts of my life. But he's saying you can't just give up the difficult parts and not the fun parts, and not the parts that fan our egos and inflame our sense of self-importance. We need to give it all up. And so everything that we hold most dear within ourselves, you know, I have this talent, I have this way of doing this that I like, I have the way I look that I like, and you know, he's saying, let's take a sword and sever all those attachments that you think are so important. And actually those attachments can also be to our families. But he's talking about the emotional attachments that we need to use that sword of devotion and sever the heartstrings that tie us to delusion. So you don't have to kill the people themselves. You need to kill the attachment. You need to kill the attachment. And Swamiji, time and time again, has said, visualize a bonfire at night before you go to sleep. And put all your attachments into that bonfire. Everything that you're attached to. Your personality too. All that you have, all that you think you are, all your limited self-definitions. Put it into that purifying light at the spiritual eye. Let them be purified. And do it every night as a practice, because it's a practice for also the time when we go to leave this body. If we've been practicing every day to offer everything up, when that time comes to us, if instead of clinging to this body, to the attachments that we have of the people around us and to the things we've acquired, instead we're just saying, no, I know what to do. I offer it up. I have already taken the sword many times and cut through those heartstrings of delusion. We use it as a guided meditation here, just to visualize the heart bound to the earth through ropes and strings, and to take a sword and just cut through them and feel the heart become free and be able to rise up like a air balloon, hot air balloon. And so Yogananda is an avatar. He has come back again and again. He has unlimited spiritual power. He has unlimited spiritual magnetism. So when we have trouble staying strong on the path, because maybe initially we were very sure that this is what we wanted, but then a few years went by and said, you know, I'm still not liberated. I thought it was going to be much easier than this. And why do I still have to do Kriya Yoga? It's been 3 years already. And you realize, no, this is a long distance run. You know, liberation is a goal that we are all on, going towards this goal, but it can take some time. And of course, in God, there's no time. But for us, since we're living in time and space, it seems like it takes a long time. And we have to be that long distance runner. We have to keep the goal in mind. You know, we chant that chant often. Patient endurance brings us to victory. And we have to be faithful that the Guru that has chosen us, this great avatar, in giving us these teachings and in giving us these spiritualized chants, and in giving us his photograph and recordings and all the teachings that he's given us, everything that we can do to tune into him, that he said, attune yourself to me and I will just bring you over that ocean of delusion. Do we have faith that that's true? And if we do, then let's practice and let's stay committed to it, because it's easy to think, I would rather watch TV. You know, I would rather do so many other things than actually sit down and practice Kriya Yoga right now, or read one of his books, or listen to one of his recordings and remember what it is I'm actually doing with this life. You know, so we have to be faithful that the goal that he's put in front of us is what we are meant to do. Yogananda said that failure on the spiritual path comes from inertia. And we all know inertia. You know, where we come from, we don't, you know, something just doesn't want us to go forward. And lack of sustained effort. So we need to consistently do what we vow to do, practice Kriya Yoga every day, come to Satsang. We have an incredible spiritual family. We have an incredible opportunity. We have support in every way. We have a website that can guide you through any of the meditation exercises. There's hundreds of blogs. There's so many videos. There's so many recordings. You could spend all of your time and never finish through the website with all the resources that are trying to support you in the spiritual path. And you have all your spiritual friends right here also helping to support you. So there is so much grace in this lifetime that we have achieved. He's chosen us, he found us, he's taught us, and we're here. So this is the time and the lifetime for us to fight. And we don't want to miss this opportunity. Yogananda said, a saint is a sinner who never gave up. So if we had a goal of bringing our inner peace into the day yesterday, that peace I felt in meditation, I was going to hold on to it. It was my goal to hold on to that peace all day, but then an hour after my meditation, I lost it with my employee. I lost it on the road. Does that mean we failed? No, it means try again. after 1 hour or try again the next morning, but keep coming back. It's like Hong Sa, keep coming back. Start again. I will maintain my peace today. I will hold on to that. And so there's nothing that we cannot achieve as long as we keep on the path and don't slide off. So patient endurance brings us to victory. Once we have God, we'll want nothing more. Gyanamata also said in one of her letters, just said that victory is not to the strong and mighty. It is not even to the clever and the wise. It is to those who are faithful. God bless you.
I'll just share a few thoughts. The reading that Surina did towards the end, it has a saying from Gita. And then some of it says that the one who is unaffected by joys and sorrow and impartial towards pleasant or unpleasant situations. And when I was sort of not new, but when I first heard about it, and then there sort of also relates to even-minded and cheerfulness being all the time, doesn't matter what life is bringing to you. So I sort of understood whatever my way, and then that's the time when I was walking, and I said, okay, joy or sorrow, anything comes, I'm not going to get affected by it. And this was the time. And they said, okay, start with joy, probably that would be easier. So as I was working, there's something good I did, and I knew that this is going to get rewarded. In the small company it was, so every week someone does something special, they would give them like their egos a boost, I may say. But yeah, so I knew that this is worthwhile, and all of a sudden I started, okay, I see that there's joy coming inside me, and boy, I said like, this is a troublemaker. No, I'm going to break my own vow, saying that I have to be even-minded. No, I can't let go of this situation. But nothing happened. I was trying, controlling hard, but the joy was just overwhelming. And then as the situation approached, it just became larger and larger. And yes, and I was joyful, and I was miserable at the same time because I didn't want anything. So then I thought, okay, maybe there's something more I have to understand. So I let it aside, and at some later point, I was again reading it, like, what is it that I missed in that thing, Master? So I looked at that sentence again, and it says that basically it's unaffected by joy and sorrow. Now he didn't remove joy and sorrow from that sentence, he didn't say just be unaffected. Joy and sorrow. So if the joy and sorrow are going to remain where they are, so who is going to be joyful if they're coming? I have to be, no? When joy comes to me, I will feel joy inside. If sorrow comes to me, if there's pain in my leg, I will feel the pain. So then the question comes, and what is it that he's saying being affected? So for that I sort of thought like, when we talk like this is our kingdom, isn't it? This is this body, as we sometimes we call, this is the bodily kingdom. And who is the king of this kingdom? Hopefully us. But then when we look inside, there are sort of many places where we can actually sit as we rule this kingdom. And then I'm sure all of us, all of you have experienced joy and sorrow at some point in time. I'm not a unique person in that situation. And then when they come, we sort of know. Like in these situations when I knew that particular experience, I knew I was started feeling a little better. More better than I normally am. And I can name it as joy. So that's the first place where we just notice that the joy is coming. And Master or Krishna in that sentence says, this is going to happen. Is it possible that a joy never comes to any person in this planet? Or all of a sudden, because of these practices, sorrow are not going to come? They will come. So the first place where we talk about is where we just have an experience. So that sentence actually doesn't say anything about that. He says like, let it be. Now, if you reflect and you say what happens, even in my situation or in the normal situation also, whenever there is a joyful situation, we say, I see this is a joyful event, and I like it. At the same time, when we talk about like something painful or something which is a misery-producing event happens to us, we say, oh, it is miserable, and I don't like it. You see, now this is a little different than just being aware of there is joy and then there's sorrow, versus liking when it is joy and not liking when there is sorrow. And that is the second place, which is the troublemaker, as Master says, which is the ego which the reading was talking about. And why is it a problem maker? Because as we have understood in our literature or in the scriptures always say, what is the nature of this world? Duality. Why would the word joy is needed if there is never a sorrow possibility? In a blog recently that Swami Jyotish has written, he talked about our breath and he compares the breath as a part of duality. We understand that. Why do we breathe in? Because energy moves up. Why do we breathe out? When the energy moves down. Now if we try to compare, I don't like my energy to move out. I only want to have this breathe in. I just like the inhalation. It doesn't make sense. Though when we feel happy, there is a sense of inhalation. It comes, and as a result of that, there also will be an exhalation. The duality, the life is part of both of these things. This is the fundamental principle. So meaning, life will bring joy, let it be. Life will bring sorrow, let it be. But the problem maker says that, no, I want to hold on to only joy because I like it. I do not want to hold on to sorrow and I don't like it. And as a result, he says in Krishna's like the one who doesn't follow that pattern, and that is the one we're trying to overcome. The first principle or the first meditation technique that we teach at Yogananda has given is the Hong So, and I mentioned about the technique also, Hong So. And again, the Sanskrit form of Hong So is Aham Saha. Very recently we had another workshop here, and some of you probably attended that. There that person talked about ego, and again ego as we say in Sanskrit, it says ahamkar. And then he split that word. He said ahamkar is what? Aham, akar. And then Yoganandaji's definition of ego is what? The soul, the aham, identified with the form, with the body. Aham, akar. And you see the beauty. I talked about 3 places inside. The first place where we just identify, we understand, we are aware of the presence of joy or sorrow inside. The second place where we say, okay, I am joyful, I am happy because there is joy, and I am unhappy, I don't like it because there is sorrow. That's the place of ego. Now, what is this third place? And that Yoganandaji says, look for. And that's what he calls as Aham Saha. Who is that he? Can he be the one who is the first? Can he be the one who is the second? He's the third one. You see, if I ask you, if you yourself ask questions like that, is it my personal experience? Did I really, did these 2 places exist inside me? Probably you will be able to come up with a situation like that, an example. How do you know? How do you know? Was you had like a secretary with you who was always taking notes of every emotion coming? Yes, but that secretary isn't outside. Or if I may not probably call that secretary, but probably that is more than that. That place, because we are very well aware from that space, we are observing everything which is happening within ourselves. We are also observing the sensation of joy, sensation of sorrow. We also observe the sensation of liking that joy and hating the sorrow. But that place is unaffected. When we practice our practice kriya or any pranayama, so that we bring ourselves so that we are in proximity to that third place. At least we hold the capacity to turn our mind to aham saha. I am that which is observing all of this. And this is not passive, you see. It is not missing a single detail, which is happening very, very, very present. So when we say, I am that, meaning I am alive, probably much more alive than what we normally think we are alive. And that is the power of the technique. And what troubles that is the same, ahamkar. You see, most of the time, if you pay attention, when you say I, we're talking from that second seat. But the more and more we train ourselves, and that is the power of practicing, even Hong So, is like, okay, who just talked? When the word light comes, we're like, oh, I have to pay attention. Because all of a sudden, from that saha place, I have moved down to a normal, a comfort zone, as they say. Familiar warmth. Yogananda ji used that word. But then we pay attention to no, no, no. Because from this, the only affirmation we always make is ahankara. And the moment we notice that, we just shift our attention back to aham, saha. And the more, why do we do that? Why? When everything is working fine? Because in that place, there's a chant Kriyananda ji has written, who said, rest in God. And where is that God? It's not the murti that you can sit in the lap. It is in that third chair. More and more we sit. Rest in God, live in God. Because there we hold the capacity to feel His peace. The chant ends with, in His love, in His joy, in His peace.